Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Belshir Vestige, spawning in the bottom right position as your Teal Protoss player. From Team Mouse Sports, it's the Korean Deer. Yay! And his opponent spawning in the north left position as the yellow Protoss player, hailing from China and Invictus Gaming, it is Macsed. Woo! Okay, so there's really nothing better than casting StarCraft at 4 in the morning. PvP can get very weird very quickly, so I'm going to try to do my best to just capture all of it in all of its amazing awkwardness. The first thing that I think determines everything about a PvP is when a player builds their first gateway. And it looks like both players are going to build their first gateway at 13 supply, which is really standard, really normal. So nothing unusual to start this game off. If you guys, you know what? I forget in the VODs people tell me about spoilers and such. So I will say this is a round of 8 match, which means both of these players won their round of 16 match. I guess I can't actually really talk about too much about what happened in the last series then. But he beat a Zerg player. Well, I basically already spoiled it. So double gas for Macsed off the bat, with a slightly faster first gas and a slightly later second gas for Deer, which doesn't really indicate anything at all. At least in my experience PvP, it usually comes down to tech choices more than anything else related to builds. That's one of the reasons why some players will say it's a bit coin flippy. Cybernetics core starts for both players, so it's 3 on this one, 2 on the other. So 5 probes total gas for Deer. And, 6 for Macsed. No third pylon yet. I don't think he's going to proxy anything. I think it's too late to send out a probe for a proxy. But, man, I would be slightly impressed. I would be at least slightly and or mildly impressed if he tried to proxy a Stargate at this point. This probe almost accidentally finds it. Yeah, I guess he's going to proxy it. See, the thing is, he's 10 seconds away from his Cybercore completing. So whatever he proxies probably is going to be delayed a little bit. Or I guess he can get his, he can get Warp Gate since he can't start it immediately. It does mean that since he's not building a unit, and when you walk in, I guess the Mothership Core might be maybe his, like, catch-all there. But the fast second gateway from Deer is just him wanting to have an opportunity to go for an attack, try to bring some level of forward pressure. But yeah, proxy Stargate. It's pretty much good in like every matchup except against Zerg. Mostly because, I mean, you know, why give the Zerg a chance to kill it? But this Mothership Core, oh, wait. Oh goodness. He's going to see this, actually. He's going to scout this Stargate with his Mothership Core. This is very nice for Deer. Yeah, the Mothership Core has the longest vision radius of any unit in the game. If he no, don't go left. Oh my goodness, he veered off the path. Wow, that is unfortunate. He's gonna see it. He was going to see it, and he's like, nah, let me just shift gears, and then he doesn't see it. So Oracle's on the way, as long as the second and third gateway for Macsed. The Chinese player has a bit of a nice spot here, especially considering that all the units for Deer are now out on the map. He's starting a Stargate back at home, but it won't be done in time for this Oracle. And let's see how much it can do. At least he's got a sentry building back at home. Well, never mind. Why do I say at least? That thing's going to die very quickly. But the counterattack is everything. What is left to defend? Photon Overcharge and a Stalker. That might be enough to actually buy him enough time to stay alive. Here comes the Oracle. There's nothing here to defend, and he's just going to go to ham. He's just going to go ham on these probes. Hey, man, I would kill the Sentry. I guess it doesn't actually matter. Sentry doesn't do that much damage, but Photon Overcharge, Max says, get off my lawn. And Phoenix is being built, but will it be done in time? He's got 5 kills. Not, the ideal amount. Usually as an Oracle, you kind of expect to kill like 30,000 probes, but I think he'll settle for 8. He didn't build anything else with this. Actually, second Oracle is so ballsy because this Phoenix will shut it down with no trouble at all. At the very least, you have to wait for the Photon Overcharge, but the Phoenix is also going to start seeking out that Stargate. And once the Phoenix sees the Oracle, well, it's game over for that thing. Oh. Okay, so he sees the Phoenix being produced back home. There's a really nice position for Macsed. He's got so much stuff on the map. And this Oracle's going to zoom on in here. I think he's thrown a bit of too much caution to the wind as far as the Photon Overcharge goes. He only manages to get 2 kills with that Oracle. But Macsed does have enough, I think, of a lead to take this Nexus without too much trouble. Let's look at the total unit counts. 5 Stalkers, a Phoenix, and a Mothership Core. Very nice for Macsed, especially with the probe lead. And he's also going to try to get the Phoenix lead. Not easy to attain, but very nice to deflect Phoenix harass on probe lines, which can be so nice. Does get it 1 probe. The alley-oop. And those Stalkers are doing a great job of keeping the Phoenix off of these guys. And Deer will see that Macsed's moving out of probe. And I think... Oh, yeah, he's going to lift it. Okay, then the rest of the Phoenix come back to finish it off. That's smart. That's really smart. Obviously don't want the probe to survive. Stalkers will depower that Stargate. So Macsed can no longer produce Phoenix. He's just got to sit with this single one, which will die really, really fast. Yeah, nothing happened there. So 2 Stalkers, I think, are going to go actually finish off this Stargate, just in case. The lack of a natural for Deer. Okay, there it is. Now Deer's taking his natural. I was going to say the lack of a natural makes life really hard because he's starting his Nexus as it finishes for Macsed, which means Macsed just has so much more probe production ability. These Phoenix could not get on top of the probe line at all. Ooh, almost loses a Phoenix. Basically for free. And Macsed's able to scout with his. Maybe lift up a probe for no reason. That'd be kind of cool to see, right? Photon Overcharge is activated. Not able to kill that Phoenix. That's almost sad. This Stargate still slowly dying. And Blink is on the way for Macsed. Pretty cool. Immortals are being chrono boosted out. Just a single one, I think, will deal quite well with the Blink. I think Macsed has a great timing to just add on a few more gateways and try to kill Deer. But, you know, who am I kidding? The Phoenix moving into the main base. Kill a probe. I think he saw Twilight Council as well, which is nice. So he knows about this. He might have seen it earlier, actually. But he also has an observer going that can scout for him. Immediately taking the gas in his natural. There being no gas in Macsed's natural is one of the reasons why I still think he could go for a super big 2-base all-in. That's why I want to see him play with more than 3 gateways, but I guess it's whatever, really. Now he wants to take the gas as natural, which is fine. This really fast gas is just going to allow for Deer to cut his army a little bit, but still get out a good amount of tech. This observer is kind of keeping tabs on the army position, allowing those Phoenix to harass. Templar Archives is coming in, though, for Macsed. I like this. I think Archons, I just love Archons in PvP. If you guys ever played a lot of PvP, there are so many armies that will just die if you macro better than your opponent and make a ton of Archons. They are so hard to kill. They can be so difficult to deal with. Archons are actually probably my favorite Protoss unit. And I'm not just saying that because there's not much else to talk about in this game. 3 more gateways being added, a Forge, so he still doesn't look like he wants to commit or go all in. Pity. But, yeah, there's the Forge for Deer. These Phoenix continue to poke. A total workers killed this game. Yeah, let's look at that. That's a fun stat. 10. Both players have killed 10 of their opponent's probes. So there's nothing interesting to talk about in regards to that. He does know that there's Templar on the map, which is nice. He knows that the Immortals won't, win him the game just yet. But, yeah. Oh, this Observer should help. Yeah, I think having an Observer in your opponent's base is always nice. As a Protoss, if you have access to your own Observers, this obviously shouldn't be an issue. But it is really, really good for Deer that he's had basically free scouting information this entire game between the Phoenix and this Observer. Now loading up a Warp Prism with 4 Zealots to go do some harass. And this could be good. This could get interesting. This hallucinate Phoenix Scout. You know, sometimes in StarCraft, really weird stuff happens for almost no reason at all. And this is one of those situations where, like, you just barely catch that Warp Prism due to a freak streak of luck. Feedback's one of the Phoenix. It's really hard to actually get the Phoenix with a feedback. But does he know that this Warp Prism is coming? The Stalkers are already kind of in position to stop it. Warp Prism's still coming in, though. Hallucinated Phoenix doesn't see too much on the natural of his opponent. But he's actually spread himself out already to deal with the Phoenix, so the Warp Prism, maybe he's not expecting it as much. He still has the Warp Prism, though, which I think is a big, big threat. There's not too much of a reason to just use it. You want to bait out your opponent's army first. Maybe force. A couple blinks are forced. Two Colossus, 2 Immortal timing is actually really strong. But he doesn't have any forward pylons. So I imagine he maybe wants to kill the third base and then recall. I don't think this will do anything for Deer. Without recall, I mean without pylons to reinforce, it's just kind of pointless to move out like this. It's just you just get put at risk. And well, alright, grabs a Stalker. Trades a Stalker for a Stalker, which still isn't really that big of a deal. Macsed's army is really, really freaking big. He's got 20 army supply lead. And he's splitting up the Colossi. He can actually only recall like half his army now. Forced to use the Time Warp. Oh, he still has that Mothership Core. That's really, really nice. If he could blink under that and stop the recall, that would be the greatest thing ever. But he's not able to do so. And he escapes the 2 with both Immortals and both Colossi, which is about as good as it gets. He could not have asked for more. That Warp Prism, I think, must have thrown some Zealots at him. Photon Overcharge dealt with that quite nicely. Probes are going to the third base for both players. So the economies have been dead even all game long. +2's coming in for both players. Dark Shrines are on the way as well. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, that's the thing about PvP. Oftentimes you get these weird situations where it's like neither player really has any reason to attack the other because you're just trying to macro up and build your super powerful death ball. It eventually just turns into like one big Kamehameha versus Kamehameha. Blinks and gets this pylon. I do like these I do like that Macsed's used these Blink Stalkers to maintain a lot of map control. He hasn't really taken these towers, but I guess, you know, to each their own. But here come the DTs. 4 warped in. Where are they? Did I miss? Oh, they're in this Warp Prism. Okay. I was trying to find them. Damn. Now they're inside this base. Oh my god, he's going to kill the opposing Dark Shrine with his Dark Shrine. That's kind of cute. No, so no DTs for Macsed. That's a great pickoff. Macsed does have an Observer here, though, so these DTs shouldn't do too much more. Still, a really nice grab by Deer to pick off Macsed's Dark Shrine. And these DTs, they won't do too much, but that was neat. That was kind of cool. I'm impressed. DT's headed towards the third base now. There are cannons here, so... I mean, the Warp Prism's headed towards the third. But the cannons make DTs not really an option. And this army is really big for Deer. It's also really big for Macsed, but Macsed is starting to spread out a little bit more. He's been forced to spread out. He's spending resources on cannons instead of army. So let's look at the big gas unit numbers. I think it's so important in PvP. Supply almost means nothing in late game PvP. It comes purely down, I think, to balancing gas expenditures. And right now, there's a lot more Zealots in this army. Despite there being an army supply lead, you could say, yeah, Macsed has more army supply, but he's a bit heavier in Zealots. Okay, now he actually has bumped up his Archons a lot. But Deer's got that balance. He has a lot of Colossi, but he does have Archons and Immortals. Oh, this does a nice blink. Grabs the Mothership Core. The Stalker flank. Really cute play by Macsed. And his Archons actually take out everything in the front. I think this was... Wow, what genius. Deer is getting absolutely hammered. That was a great blink by Macsed. I think he just won the game with that fight. I would be surprised if he wasn't able to just... I mean, counter A moving can always be a scary thing to do, but he has warping of his own. He's going to send some Zealots to the third base. I think having Pylons up earlier would have helped him. The fourth base is done for Deer. He's moving that War Prism in again with 2 DTs and 2 Zealots. The Photon Cannon was picked off. This is really smart, forcing Macsed to bring some of his army back. This is okay. This DT drop is what Deer needs to do to stay alive, but does he have enough? Does he have what it takes? Is there an observer with this army is another good question, because these DTs are warped in defensively, trying to just snipe the Colossi. He's microing back as much as possible. I don't think Deer has enough to stop this force. He's just kind of praying for these DTs to save him, but Macsed has an observer. And despite losing this third base, I don't think that Macsed is going to be stopped. He's pushing into the natural expansion. He was pushing the third earlier, and these probes are going to start to die. This is just good clean StarCraft. Now the DT versus DT action in the natural of Macsed. But with the cannon there, he's pretty safe. So this natural is gone, and Deer taps out GG. Macsed, the Chinese Protoss, with a fantastic game number 1 in this best of 3.